Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Chinenye Moye. First, let's bring you the headlines. President Bola Tinubu attends 8th-day Fidal prayer for the late Awujale of Ijebu Land, Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetona. Nigeria adopts renewable energy to bridge energy gap and improve electricity supply. Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda-backed armed group M23 sign a ceasefire deal. Many thanks for joining us. President Bola Tinubu pays tribute to the late Awujale of Ijebu Land, Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetona. The president, accompanied by his wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, attended the 8th-day Fidal prayers in honor of the late traditional ruler in Ogun State.
Of our father. He is our leader of conscience, tradition, and a great value. He brought pride, dignity, and honor to the Yoruba race. I'm extremely proud of him. He was always there at that time of need for all of us. I could recount the June 12th episode, our protest then, our episode in his palace, our foray, our resistance, our determination to reverse the annulment of June 12th. Papa was steadfast, was resolute, was very encouraging.
Oba Adetona, who passed away on July 13th at the age of 91, was one of the country's longest-serving monarchs with a reign of over 65 years. He was laid to rest the following day in Ijebu Ode. Muslims in their numbers have held a special prayer session for the repose of the soul of the late former Nigerian leader Muhammadu Buhari. The dua session, which coincided with the 7th day of his departure, was organized by the Ansaruddin Islamic Society. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
We pray that Allah will forgive our father.
It was a solemn moment at the Ansaruddin Mosque, but this time tears and sorrows had fizzled away and were replaced with fervent prayers for the repose of the soul of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. Islamic scholars and other religious adherents observed recitation of the glorious Quran from Surah Al-Fatiha to Baqarah and performed communal supplication for forgiveness and mercy upon the departed. Former ministers in the late president's cabinet and other prominent Nigerians who attended the 7th-day prayer session described Buhari as a true patriot who redefined leadership in Nigeria and appreciated President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his exemplary leadership during the demise of the former president.
We continue to pray for him. Everybody is praying for him, and we thank everyone for the prayers.
I may not have worshipped with them the way they worship, but at least I was present to honor President Buhari.
Continue to pray for him, whether you're Muslim or Christian. We ask all our leaders, from councillor to president, that she emulate him.
I recommend everyday prayer, and prayer also for our leaders.
Scholars and personalities appealed to Nigerians to sustain prayers for present and departed Nigerian leaders who fought and are still fighting for the unity, peace, stability, and progress of the Nigerian state. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
The most senior member of the Buhari family, Maman Daura, has, on behalf of the family, expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu and his wife, the First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu, for their role and that of the government of the Federation before and after the passing of the former president. In a statement issued by Garba Shehu, the family expressed gratitude to leaders of the various countries around the globe who either came in person, sent representatives, sent letters, or placed personal telephone calls. Of special note were those of the King of England, King Charles III, the Secretary General of the United Nations, the Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, the Chairman of the African Union, and that of the Committee of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS countries, and the former Head of State, Abdulsalami Abubakar. The family is equally grateful to Vice President Kashim Shettima and his wife, and to all state governors, former vice presidents, leaders, and members of the National and State Assemblies, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, his predecessor in office, Boss Mustafa, the current Chief of Staff and his predecessor, former and 7 members of the cabinet in both administrations for their activities in these events and their comforting words. The Buhari family is pleased with the gestures of traditional leaders as well as the various emirs and chiefs from all over Nigeria and the neighboring countries who came in person or sent representatives, honored by the large turnout of religious leaders, Islamic, Christian, and of the other faiths, community leaders, women, youth and politicians of various leanings whose surge in Daura was reassuring. The family in Daura is also thanking past and 7 security and intelligence, police and military leaders, permanent secretaries, the nation's business leaders who visited Daura, the entire citizens of this country, and those of other nations represented by their missions in Nigeria. All of Nigeria came out in force to bury Buhari and condole with them and prayed for him. The family is deeply grateful for the visits, the condolence messages, and prayers for him. United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed has commended Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf for his strong commitment to advancing social development and promoting the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. She gave the commendation during a courtesy visit to the governor of the Kano Government House. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
The United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed is in Kano following a condolence visit to the family of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura. Beyond the condolence gesture, the visit was also aimed to deepen advocacy for the Sustainable Development Goals and to enhance collaboration between the United Nations and the Kano State Government. Discussions focus on key areas including healthcare, renewable energy, climate change and human capital development. While Governor Yusuf reaffirmed Kano's commitment to strategic partnerships with UN agencies in critical sectors such as education, healthcare, environmental protection, climate action, renewable energy and sustainable investment, the UN Deputy Chief assured him of the UN's full support and cooperation. She also commended the state government's efforts in women's empowerment, job creation and environmental sustainability initiatives that align closely with global sustainable development targets.
This is a center of much production and activity, young people, population, governance, and to hear really what the challenges are, how much progress you have made, and what can we do in the UN to support that in health, in education, in agriculture, in power.
Mrs. Mohammed also briefed the governor on the upcoming UN Business and Investment Forum, highlighting the potential opportunities for Kano State to attract international partnerships and investments. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Authorities in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have confirmed the death of a prince often referred to as Saudi Sleeping Prince. Prince Khaled bin Talal announced the death of his son, Prince Al-Walid bin Khaled bin Talal, who spent nearly 20 years in a coma following a severe traffic accident in London in 2005. A family statement on Sunday expressed profound sadness and sorrow over the death of the prince. Over the years, he became a symbol of hope and endurance, with many across the Arab world keeping him in their prayers and wishing for his recovery. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda-backed armed group M23 have signed a ceasefire deal to end fighting that has devastated the country's economy, just as Sudan's Prime Minister makes first visit to Khartoum since assuming office in May. Chukunonso Nwabueze reports.
The truce was agreed in a declaration of principles signed by the two sides after 3 months of talks in the Qatari capital, Doha. In the signed agreement, the warring parties agreed to uphold their commitment to a permanent ceasefire, including refraining from hate propaganda and any attempt to seize by force new positions. The deal includes a roadmap for restoring state authority in the Eastern DRC and an agreement for the two sides to open direct negotiations toward a comprehensive peace agreement. Congolese presidential envoy Sumbusita Mambo and M23 Permanent Secretary Benjamin Mbonipa signed the deal at a ceremony in the Qatari capital. This follows a separate peace deal between the Congolese and Rwandan governments signed in Washington last month. DRC has been racked by conflict for more than 3 decades, creating a humanitarian crisis and forcing hundreds of thousands of people from their homes. Thousands were killed in a lightning offensive by the M23 between January and February this year, in which the group seized vast portions of territory, including the key provincial capitals of Goma and Bukavu.
Renewable energy to bridge its energy gap and improve electricity supply. But access to sustainable financing remains a challenge. The British Council and the European Union have stepped in with funding for innovation and research to scale up local manufacturing of solar infrastructure. Joshua Ojito reports.
Nigeria has abundant renewable energy sources, yet the cost of solar installation remains high. Although donor agencies have continued to support Nigeria with grants to accelerate financing of solar mini-grids, a homegrown solution is key to sustainable funding and ensure solar infrastructure are cheaper for Nigerians. British Council steps in with funding for research and innovation and a homegrown technology developed to cut cost of solar energy installation.
EcoWise is Africa's first embedded digital monitoring, reporting and verification platform that is designed to track solar data, verify and monetize this data into environmental commodities, turning solar energy into real tradable environmental commodities such as carbon credits and renewable energy certificates.
The British Council has, we've come in as a funder because this aligns with our approach to enhance sustainable energy to Nigerians and Africans.
The technology will be deployed to solar mini-grids in Abuja and Nasarawa State as a pilot, with planned expansion to other parts of the country before 2026.
Currently, renewable energy is funded mostly from equity, debt, and grant. But, like we all know, grant is not something that should always be there for the longest term. For any market or any ecosystem to grow, at some point, grants need to phase out. So we see a pathway where these solutions can actually start substituting grants out. So there is actually, line of sight to commercial viability of having solar installations.
The target is to achieve clean energy financing through environmental commodities in Nigeria. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. We'll take a break here. There will be more reports when we return. This day.
I therefore call on my colleagues, or media professionals and editors, to be discerning in their reportage. We must deny these groups the undue publicity they crave. We must take them off the front pages and accurately report them as the criminals that they are, without glorifying their acts or giving credence to their false narratives. These, of course, are not freedom fighters. They are murderers, kidnappers, and destroyers, and they must be presented as such.
Many thanks for staying on. Farming activities are gradually increasing in many parts of the country as the rainy season stabilizes. However, the high cost of inputs, particularly fertilizers and seeds, is affecting farmers' production costs. Musa Baba Aliyu reports that both federal and state governments are working to implement interventions.
The rainy season is gradually stabilizing across the country, encouraging farmers to increase agricultural activities. While the north-central states are benefiting from favorable rainfall patterns, farmers in certain areas of the northwest and northeast are awaiting more consistent rainfall. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) predicts delayed and early ending rains in these regions, leading to recommendations for farmers to adopt smart practices such as planting early maturing, drought-tolerant, and pest-resistant seeds. These seeds have been developed by agricultural institutions in the country and are available to farmers.
We used agro dealers and also certified seed companies that we gave seeds for multiplication, and through them, our farmers also accessed our products directly.
However, rising cost of inputs like fertilizer, which now exceed 50,000 naira for a 50 kg bag, present significant challenges for farmers.
Fertilizer is still a bit high. What Mr. President has mandated us to do is to see how we can balance between consumer welfare and also farmer welfare. We are concerned about what it will impact on the well-being of the farmer. So we are working out modalities so that we can bring out how we can support farmers and how we can offtake from the farmers.
In response, farmers are forming cooperatives to gain access to these inputs and repay loans after the harvest.
Already all the fertilizer that we need for the 6,000 hectares we're going to do for this year, we have already purchased all of them. They are on ground. All the input have already been requested for after soil test.
Consequently, locally fabricated heavy-duty equipment is gaining popularity, with fabricators based in Jigawa claiming that their products are more durable than the imported ones. To further support food production, President Tinubu has launched the distribution of 2,000 tractors along with harvesters and other tools, which are set to be deployed in the 2025-2026 planting seasons, promising to enhance agricultural productivity. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Success begins from starting the child well on Oran Foundation. This was emphasized at the 2025 graduation ceremony of Vivad International School, Gwarimpa, Abuja, held amidst pomp and ceremony. Chukwunonso Nwabweze reports that the event marked the celebration of remarkable achievements of the school's graduating pupils, as well as academic exploits of other members of its community.
Scaling through any academic hurdle comes with a sense of fulfillment and nostalgia. The outstanding, visibly excited 10 reception pupils of Vivad International Schools, their parents, family members and friends are here to celebrate their promotion to primary section.
I feel so happy that I'm graduating today.
The school authority used the auspicious occasion to emphasize the importance of perseverance, dedication, and the pursuit of excellence, highlighting the various academic and extracurricular achievements of the graduating class and other pupils of the school.
At Vivad, we have always believed that education is the key to unlocking a world of opportunities. This principle is what each of our students has lived with this session. They have embraced rigorous academics, engaged in dynamic classrooms, and absorbed moral values.
Highly elated parents commended the school management for impacting positively on their children.
Today, we are not just celebrating academic achievements, but honoring the journey of each child, the sacrifices of parents, and the tireless efforts of our dedicated teachers and school leadership.
Like for my son, when he came into the school, he could barely read, but few months into the school,
he became very excellent in reading, and I'm so proud of that.
I transferred my girl to another school, but I had to bring her back because they are doing extremely well and the teachers are really trying.
How they started is not what they are now, so there's always been an improvement, and so that's one of the tremendous things about VIVAD. That's why we are pleased to have our children in the school.
The cutting of the graduation cake, various presentations, as well as recognition of outstanding academic exploits of the school's pupils climaxed the occasion. Established in 2021 and situated at 25 Owolo Street off 35 Road, 3rd Avenue, Gwarimpa, Abuja, VIVAD International Schools has over 100 pupils in its crèche, playgroup, pre-nursery, reception and primary sections. NTA News.
The Senate reaffirms that there is no subsisting court order mandating the Senate to recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan before the expiration of her suspension. Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Yemi Adaramodu, in his statement, says this clarification becomes necessary following the circulating claims by the suspended senator that she intends to resume at the Senate this Tuesday based on a misinterpretation of the recent judgment delivered by Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court, Abuja. He adds that it was surprising and legally untenable that Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, while on appeal, and having filed a motion for stay against the valid and binding orders made against her, is attempting to act upon an imaginary order of recall that does not exist. The statement advised the senator to refrain from any attempt to storm the Senate this Tuesday, as doing so would not only be premature, but also will undermine the dignity of the Senate and violate due process. The Senate, he says, as a law-abiding institution, is committed to upholding the rule of law and the integrity of its proceedings, and it will not tolerate the disruption of its proceedings. It asked Senator Natasha to respectfully stay away from the Senate's chambers and allow due process to run its full course. Ask what you can do for your country and not what your country will do for you. This popular expression, meant to stir the spirit of patriotism, is one that resonates with Nigeria's current trajectory, where citizens have become lukewarm to issues of service for national development. In this report, Calvin Ebonaye examines the place of patriotism in nationhood.
It takes two elements to build a country: leadership and followership. Their action or inaction ultimately reflects on the direction a country will take. The act of patriotism is embedded in putting the interest of the country first in all ramifications, and when a country has majority of patriotic citizens, the task of nation building becomes easier.
Nigerians have already lost it. We no longer have confidence in our values. We no longer have confidence in our institutions. These institutions ranging from cultural institutions, from religious institutions, as well as the community as an institution.
It is only when we have this country at heart, thinking that I'm not thinking about anything except my country. That is how other countries grow. If you go to other countries, you see that some even believe in their country more than anything else. But in Nigeria today, the selfish interest has taken over the center stage.
The role of leaders in value reorientation among citizens is one key factor. When leaders lead by examples, citizens find an easy template to follow. This can be achieved through good governance and empathy in policy formulation.
Much aware, there are policies, there are programs, there are a lot of initiatives being created to better the lives of ordinary Nigerians. But the means and the ways in which these policies and programs are being initiated is another thing.
Very, very important. If we discuss about stories of our past heroes, this is going to make a positive impact, and people will look at them as mentors, as role models, and is going to change the attitude of people toward a core patriotism and positive citizens today in the country.
But of concern in recent times is the nonchalant attitude or outright bad behavior among some Nigerians in matters of nation building, which has rubbed off on the country's image badly, locally or internationally, with the reputation of the green passport suffering the hit most of the times. This is why observers believe that the diaspora community also has a role to play.
The representation of these people can go a long way in redeeming the image of Nigeria. How do I say so? Wherever you find yourself as a citizen of this country, it's just for you to say good about the nation. Make it good presentations in terms of representation, in terms of advocacy, because what you say, we have direct either implication on even the citizen in either positive or negative way. So it's just like what is being the slogan that has been going on in the National Orientation Agency, that the right thing begin with me. So if the right thing, anybody in Nigeria do the right thing in their respective field, I think it will translate back.
Growth and national development.
Media has a role now. Let's sell good information. Let's sell, what is it called? A good name for ourselves, for within and outside the country.
If there is any time when the slogan of living by the citizens' code is out, that time is now. Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
Strategic leadership, patriotism and selfless service towards the growth of all sectors were part of messages that resonated at a special Thanksgiving service by the Nigerian Union of Journalists FCT Council at the World Harvest Church, Abuja, in celebration of the 2025 Press Week of the Council. Elizabeth Omori brings us the sights and sounds of the service.
Journalism, as the fourth estate of the realm, is fundamental to democracy, checking violations and reinforcing the rule of law. For members of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, FCT Council, the pen profession remains a critical tool for nation building. Performing this function and more over the years, members of the Council are thanking God for the impact made in promoting peace, good governance, and humanity. His sermon reminded the congregation that truth should be the guiding principle and see possibilities and obstacles life presents. And its leadership that it meant. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
And that's the news on NTA International. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Chinenye Ngoye.